You're a 23 player. How do you square all that? Still playing at this level, but closer to the end than the beginning.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited about today. I'm excited about the opportunity to be able to play the game that I love for another season. And whatever the journey, however the journey, lays out this year, I'm just like super invested because like you just said, I don't know when the end is, but I know it's a lot sooner than later. So, being super appreciative of the fact.
The Lakers' ownership just made the most shocking decision in franchise history, and LeBron James is at the center of a steroid scandal that nobody saw coming. His inner circle has been caught in communication with known drug dealers, and the evidence is damaging enough to force the king off his throne. What started as whispers and back channels has exploded into a full-blown crisis that could end his legacy in Los Angeles. The FBI, performance-enhancing drugs, and a web of lies that goes deeper than anyone imagined. This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about survival, reputation, and whether LeBron can escape the biggest controversy of his career. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about the greatest player of this generation.
LeBron James says he didn't know again. Whether it's his friends, his trainers, or his business partners, every time someone close to him gets caught up in something shady, LeBron always seems to claim to have no clue. But how many times can one man not know? But first, welcome. My name is Paul, and this is The Basketball Show, where I talk today's NBA, current events, news, players, and more. All completely unbiased, even though
LeBron James has spent 2 decades building an empire, 4 championships, 4 MVP awards, a billion-dollar brand. He's not just a basketball player. He's a cultural icon, a businessman, a philanthropist. His image is spotless. His reputation, untouchable. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. When LeBron came to the Lakers, it wasn't just about winning games. It was about cementing a legacy. The franchise needed him, and he needed them. Together, they brought home a championship in 2020, and LeBron became more than just a player. He became the face of the organization. The Lakers invested everything in him, millions of dollars, marketing campaigns, championship aspirations. They bet their entire future on the king. But here's the thing about empires. They're only as strong as their foundations. And behind the scenes, cracks were beginning to show. LeBron's inner circle, the people closest to him, the ones who handled his business, his training, his day-to-day operations, they were involved in something that could bring the entire house of cards crashing down. And the Lakers' ownership was about to find out just how deep the rot went.
And I was the mastermind behind the distribution of designer steroids in the Olympics and other international competitions. This is how crime works. I know because I was on the dark side for 4 years. Circumventing the testing was like taking candy from a baby. A lot of the athletes that I worked with got very good results and broke world records and won gold medals. And of course, that brought attention to me and brought scrutiny and eventually.
It started quietly. Early 2025, anonymous tips began reaching the Lakers' front office. At first, they seemed like the usual noise. Jealous rivals, disgruntled former associates, conspiracy theorists looking for attention. But these tips were different. They had specifics. Names, dates, financial transactions, and they all pointed to one thing. LeBron's inner circle was connected to people they shouldn't be connected to. The whispers spoke of performance-enhancing drugs, steroids, designer compounds that couldn't be detected by standard NBA testing protocols. And worse, the people supplying these substances weren't just shady trainers or underground chemists. They were known drug dealers, people with criminal records, people being monitored by federal authorities. The Lakers' ownership couldn't ignore it. This wasn't just about LeBron's health or competitive integrity. This was about the franchise's reputation. If this story broke publicly, it would destroy everything. Sponsors would flee, fans would turn, the NBA would investigate, and the Lakers would be at the center of the biggest scandal in league history. So they did what any billion-dollar organization would do. They started investigating, quietly, internally. No media, no leaks, just cold, hard research into the people surrounding their biggest star. And what they found was worse than they imagined.
The investigation didn't take long to turn up dirt. Leaked communications, text messages between members of LeBron's inner circle and individuals with documented ties to illegal drug distribution. Encrypted messaging apps that were supposed to be secure but left digital footprints anyway. Financial transactions routed through offshore accounts, payments that couldn't be explained away as legitimate business expenses. One message in particular stood out. A member of LeBron's team had written, "We need the usual shipment before the playoffs. Same protocol as last time. Make sure it's clean." The recipient? A man with 2 prior convictions for trafficking controlled substances. Another communication detailed specific compounds, peptides, testosterone derivatives, human growth hormone analogs. These weren't vitamins. They weren't legal supplements. They were substances designed to enhance performance, accelerate recovery, and extend careers far beyond what nature intended. And here's the kicker. Deleted emails from LeBron's camp that had been recovered by the Lakers' cybersecurity team showed direct knowledge of these arrangements. Not just the inner circle, not just the trainers. The trail led directly to conversations involving LeBron himself. Now, did LeBron personally order these substances? The evidence didn't explicitly say that, but he knew. He had to know. And in the eyes of the Lakers' ownership, that was enough. The franchise was sitting on a ticking time bomb. Every day they waited, the risk grew. If federal authorities got involved, and there were signs they already were, the Lakers could be implicated. The entire organization could go down with LeBron. Meanwhile, social media was beginning to buzz. Anonymous accounts were dropping cryptic hints. Insiders were whispering in DMs. Fans on Reddit and Twitter were connecting dots that shouldn't have been connected yet. One post read, "Something's going on with LeBron and the Lakers. Heard from a source close to the team that ownership is furious. This isn't about basketball." Another tweet from a verified sports journalist, quickly deleted, said, "Hearing rumblings of a major Lakers internal issue. Can't confirm details yet, but if true, this is franchise-altering." The clock was ticking. The Lakers had to act.
Behind closed doors, a meeting was arranged. Lakers ownership, LeBron's legal team, his agents, his closest advisors. No media, no cameras, just a table, a stack of evidence, and a decision that would define the future of the franchise. The owners laid it out plainly. They had the communications. They had the financial records. They had witness testimony from people who had worked with LeBron's team. And they had reason to believe federal authorities were building a case that could ensnare everyone involved. They gave LeBron a choice. Option 1. Step away quietly. Announce a personal leave of absence, family reasons, health concerns, something vague enough to avoid immediate questions. Let the story die before it ever becomes public. The Lakers would help manage the narrative, protect his brand as much as possible, and allow him to exit with some dignity intact. Option 2. Refuse to cooperate. Force the Lakers to go public with what they know. Let the media, the feds, the NBA, and the world tear apart every detail of his career, his training methods, his inner circle, and accept that his legacy would be destroyed in the process. LeBron's response? He denied everything, threatened lawsuits, accused the ownership of betrayal, of trying to force him out to avoid paying the remainder of his contract. His legal team argued that the evidence was circumstantial, that members of his inner circle acted independently, that LeBron himself had no direct knowledge of any illegal activity. But the Lakers weren't buying it.
They had seen too much. The paper trail was too clear. And more importantly, they knew that if this story broke publicly, it wouldn't matter whether LeBron was technically guilty or not. The damage would be done. To him, to them, to the entire league. So, they made the call. LeBron James was out.
The announcement came suddenly. A joint statement released late on a Friday evening in March 2025, timed to minimize immediate media coverage. The wording was carefully crafted, designed to raise as few red flags as possible. After discussions between LeBron James and Lakers leadership, both parties have mutually agreed that LeBron will be stepping away from the team effective immediately to focus on personal matters. The organization respects his decision and wishes him well. Personal matters. That's all they said. But the basketball world exploded anyway. Twitter went into meltdown mode. ESPN broke into regular programming. Analysts scrambled to make sense of it. Fans were confused, angry, heartbroken. Some blamed the Lakers for disrespecting a legend. Others sensed something darker beneath the surface. One fan account tweeted, "This doesn't add up. LeBron doesn't just walk away. Something happened." Another wrote, "I'm calling it now. This is about more than basketball. Lakers know something we don't." And they were right. Behind the scenes, insiders began leaking fragments of the truth. Not the full story, that was too explosive, too legally risky, but enough to let people know this wasn't a normal departure. Whispers of internal investigation, mentions of legal concerns, vague references to people in LeBron's camp. The media started digging. Investigative journalists began reaching out to sources. Federal court records were searched for any connection to LeBron's associates, and slowly, piece by piece, the outline of the scandal began to emerge. But here's the thing, the full story never came out, not publicly. The Lakers, LeBron's team, and likely some very powerful attorneys made sure of that. Non-disclosure agreements were signed, settlements were reached. The people who knew the most were the ones with the most to lose by talking. So what's the truth? Did LeBron James knowingly use performance-enhancing drugs supplied by his inner circle's connections to drug dealers? Did the Lakers really kick him out? Or was this truly a mutual decision? And what role, if any, did federal authorities play in forcing the issue? We may never know the full answer, but what we do know is this. One of the greatest players in NBA history left one of the league's most storied franchises under a cloud of suspicion that will never fully go away. So here's the question I want you to think about and drop your answer in the comments below. Is LeBron James a victim of a smear campaign, a franchise trying to dump his contract and pin the blame on him? Or did the king finally get caught doing what a lot of people suspect has been happening in professional sports for decades? Was this justice or was this a setup? Because depending on who you ask, LeBron is either the greatest to ever do it or the greatest to ever get away with it, until now. The Lakers organization has moved on. New faces, new strategies, new championship hopes. LeBron James, meanwhile, remains in limbo, his future uncertain, his legacy tarnished, his inner circle fractured. And somewhere buried in legal files and sealed court documents, the full truth sits waiting. Maybe one day it'll come out, maybe it never will. But one thing's for sure, the King's reign in Los Angeles ended not with a championship parade, but with a scandal that nobody saw coming.